Good evening, everyone. Today's session is on applications of data science. In the previous lectures, we have understood what are the applications of artificial intelligence. In this lecture, we will be discussing about specifically the applications of data science. We have understood there are three domains of artificial intelligence. The first is data science, second is computer vision, and the third one is natural language processing. So basically, whenever we have the uh, AI enabled models, according to the type of data that is fed into the AI model, it is basically, or you may say it is broadly categorized into these three domains, right? Like if we have images or videos kind of thing, so we will be having our computer vision. If we have some language processing or language understanding kind of thing, then we will be using language processing, natural language processing. And if we have some data and that is fed into the system, like you have CSV files or Excel files, your last 10 years data that needs to be fed into the AI models, then for predictions, for basically for making predictions, right? Then we will be using data sciences. So let's begin with the session. There are a number of applications that we are using in our real life, and we should know like how we are using the AI in our daily life. The Basically, first of all, understand what is data sciences. Data sciences is one of the domain of artificial intelligence. It is specifically related to data systems and processes, right, in which the system is collecting the data. Now the sources of data could be anything, like suppose I am taking a survey, or I am taking the data set from APIs, right, application programming interface, or I am going to take the data from sensors. So there are a number of we will be studying in this session only what are the different sources from where we can collect the data and how to use that data, right? So the one of the application basically that we use in data sciences is price comparison websites. We open a website and we check out the price of a particular product. Right now, earlier we don't have such kind of things. So there are a number of websites which are providing the comparison of different prices. Like you have policybazaar.com. Now, through Policy Bazaar, you can basically check out your policy and compare the prices also at the same time. Another example is your price grabber or price runner, Jungly, Shopzilla, Deal Time are some examples of price comparison websites. Nowadays, these websites can be found almost in every domain, such as technology. You may be using, like in technology, in hospitality, automobiles, durables. So, I have given the example of your, like, suppose I'm taking any policy related to healthcare. So, yes, it would be uh, it is basically associating it with healthcare domain, right? And if I'm going to ask like whether these prices are going to have for different products in automobiles, or you may have the different comparison of prices of different cars by different brands, right? And that is again at the same time you are getting the suggestions like this is having the same features. What are the pros, what are the cons of this car, what are the specific specifications, what are the basically how these are upgraded, in which how many versions they are available. So everything you can compare it at the same time and get the result as well. So they are built on what? They are built on data sciences, right? Second example we have is fraud and risk detection. Like there were earlier we don't have such kind of applications. Like suppose anyone wants to take loan, or you may say debt from the bank, right? Earlier we don't have such kind of applications. Nowadays we have such kind of application. The user has to get first of all register to the bank and giving all the details related to its PAN number and everything. Why? Because the salaries of last 10 years, how many credit cards he may be having. So after checking all the details, the prediction system, the fraud and risk detection system, is going to predict whether the company has to give the loan or not. So how it is going to think upon this? Basically, it identifies the patterns from that particular data set, right? So one of the most widely used application of data sciences are in fraud and risk detection. Like you have seen, over the years, banking companies learn to divide and conquer data via what? Customer profiling, past expenditures, and essential variables to analyze the probabilities of risk and default. Right. Moreover, it has also helped them to push their banking products based on the customer's purchasing power. Like if the customer is purchasing something uh, on the website, right? So you can easily find out the customer is paying the EMIs on time or not by checking the CIBIL score, or you may have other things also, like by statements you can check out. So the purchasing parts, the pattern in the purchasing power, if you get the data of that customer purchasing power, like he has spent on this like 20,000 every month. Now how much, or he is taking me, he may be purchasing some products and paying later on through EMIs, whether the customer is paying the EMI on time or not, right? So this is what, like he, if he is not able to repay the loan, or he is not able to repay the EMIs, obviously the prediction system is going to give you the result ki it's a risk behind that to give the loan to this kind of person, right? Another application is like when we have genetics and genomics. Now let us understand what is this. First of all, understand what is data sciences behind this. So data sciences techniques allows integration of different kinds of data with genomic data in disease research, which provides a deeper understanding of genetic issues in reactions to particular drugs and diseases. So it is going to predict like these kinds of drugs and these kinds of diseases are found in certain kind of genetic issues. So according to that, whenever the prediction system is going to prescribe, or it is predicting the particular disease or prescribing the medicines, it is going to check out the background details of that particular patient. So this is how it is very much helpful in genetics and genomics also, right? The main goal is to understand the impact of the DNA on our health and find the individual biological connections between genetic diseases and drug responses. So when we have to achieve the goal of prediction, it may be like the application system may be going to help out in making predictions, or it is maybe helpful in giving prescriptions of different medicines. So it could be according to the application of system, the system is working, right? The next advantage, the next application of data sciences are internet search, right? Like suppose I am searching anything on any web search engine like Yahoo or Google Chrome or Bing, Ask. There are number of search engines from where you are going to search any query. Now within a fraction of seconds, it gives you the best possible result, right? And it, like every day everyone is using Google internet search. And now it is not like that ki whenever we are searching anything, it is not going to provide any information. It's a very hardly it has a huge data set that it is going to provide the best end results while surfing on internet. So this is what, again, it is a part of data science. Next application is targeted advertising. Like suppose if you thought search would have been the biggest of all data science application, here is the challenge. The entire digital marketing spectrum, starting from the display of banners on various websites to the digital billboards at the airports. Almost all of them have are decided by using data sciences algorithms. This is the reason why digital ads have been able to get a much higher CTR. What is CTR? Call through rate than traditional advertisement. Earlier, what we have, earlier we have TVs, earlier we have radios through which we are advertising our anything we want to, like about any product or any marketing kind of thing. You can promote it through radios or on television, or you may publish it in, or you may basically publish it in the newspaper. But nowadays, online digital marketing, that means like I am interested in this kind of product, so I may be targeted with that kind of products only, because it basically learns from my previous input. Suppose I have searched a product yesterday on Amazon related to some like woolen clothes, suppose. So now today I'm getting a whenever I'm going to search on a net, I'm getting a advertisements, or I'm getting a offers on some woolen clothes. So my last past behavior is understood, learned by the machine, and then accordingly it is suggesting me the desired products, right? So again, this is one of the application of what, that is data sciences. Then we have website recommendations. So now website recommendations are like, I told you just now, I have taken the example of Amazon, right? I'm searching for any mobile, I'm searching for any product, right? I the Amazon or other online websites are going to recommend me for that particular product. So you can, nowadays you can have number of things. Now let us see, let's, I am using LinkedIn, or I am using Netflix, and now accordingly they are suggesting me, right? Like suppose I am searching on LinkedIn some kind of profile, some kind of vacancies. Later on it is going to suggest me these are the vacancies that you may like it, yeah, you may apply to, right? Or Netflix, if I'm going to take the example of Netflix, today I am watching some old movies, and yet tomorrow if I again log in into the Netflix and open Netflix, and then I want to search it, like I want to search anything on Netflix, a recommendation or suggestion list is almost like having the preferences, which is like I have previously watched that part. It is related to that only. So the recommendations are made based on the previous search results for a user. How it is identifying the patterns that you may like it, right? Because you have searched for it earlier, and the computer is learning from your past search results, right? So this is, yes, this is one of the application of data sciences. Then we have the most important thing, everyone is using airline route planning, or on the roads also you are planning to go from here and there. You have some source, you have some destinations, right? Now everyone is like, in this part everyone is using any kind of transportation service. Now if we have those kind of transportation service, like it is going to help out in prediction of flight delay in advance. Like yesterday what I have done is, I was just seeing on my mobile, and it was predicting like after 2 hours it may be rain, right? And the temperature will be much 2 degree colder than the last day. So how it is predicting? It is predicting based on the data only. So it is identifying the patterns in the data only, right? So these are some examples of applications of data science. Decide which class of airplane to buy. Now it's depend on your specification, it depends on your choices, whether to directly land at the destination or take a halt in between. You may take it, right? And effectively drive customer loyalty programs. So there are number of you may say functions, there are number of applications where you can apply applications of data science. Now let us go into the detail part, how it works, how it collects the data, how what are the types of data, what are the sources of data, and what are the errors, what are the issues behind that. So the what are the sources of data we have is there are two sources of data. While collecting the data we can use two sources. The first is offline sources and the second is online data collection. If we talk about offline data collection, it could be sensors, it could be surveys, it could be cameras, it could be interviews, it could be observations, right? Whereas when we have online data collection, it could be open sourced government portals which are providing you information and they are reliable information, right? Like Kaggle, or you may have UCI machine learning website, GitHub library, you may use it. A world's organization open source statistical websites are there which is going to provide you the data sets on which you can build the models, AI enabled models. So whenever you access this data from any of the sources, the following points kept in mind. What are the important points when you are downloading the data set? Data which is available for public usage should only should be taken up, right? So it should be public, it should not be like you are taking the downloading the data sets of passwords of the users, no, right? The data which is actually public to the user, you may download it. Personal data set should only be used with the consent of the owner. Yes, so this is very very important. If you are taking any personal data sets for your for building the AI enabled system, you have to take the consent of the owner itself. One should never breach someone's privacy to collect data, right? You cannot say that put a camera in behind a hospital where the camera should not be there and you are putting just for collecting your data. So it's not authorized, it's not basically it's not valid. Why? Because you are hacking the data of that person. Data should only be taken from reliable sources, as the data collected from random sources can be wrong and unusual. Yes, very, very important. When I'm talking about the online data collection, whether it is a open source government portal or you are taking the data from Kaggle or GitHub library or UCI machine library, they are basically very very reliable websites. Why? Because they are first of all maintained by governments, and even the like Kaggle is maintained by some private organization, but it is very much reliable because most of the people are using it for building their applications, right? It's not like uh, it is giving you irrelevance or uh, you may say waste results, like wrong results. It is predicting, it is very much predicting the correct results by using such kind of private websites as well, right? So it is very very important whenever you are downloading the data set, it should be from some reliable sources. Next thing is reliable sources of data ensure the authenticity of data, which helps in proper training of the AI model. If you are taking a data set which is unreliable and you are training the model with such kind of data, whether your machine is going to predict the correct output? No. Why? Because first of all, it is not reliable source. It is not, maybe it is not relevant. So there are number of points that needs to be taken while you are using or downloading the data, right? Now let us see what are the types of data we have while collecting the data set. So for data science especially, usually the data is collected in the form of tables. These tabular data sets can be stored in different formats. Some of commonly used formats are CSVs, comma separated values. They basically this kind of file format is very very simple, and it is just to store your data in rows and columns. You have some attributes, accordingly you have some rows or a record related to that particular attributes, right? And they are separated by commas. That's why we call this file as comma separated values. Since the values of records are separated by comma, hence they are known as CSV file. So nowadays not everyone knows about CSV file, but whenever we come into the domain that is machine learning, or you may be using deep learning, these are the most commonly used data formats for downloading the data sets. Like you are downloading the data set from any government website, so they are providing the data sets in Excel sheets also, in CSV formats also. So you may choose any one of them. The second one is Excel sheet only. A spreadsheet is a piece of paper or a computer program which is used for counting or recording. Same. It is represented in a rows and column format into which information can be entered. So it is again a simpler format, a tabular format, and a very simple format for storing the data. Microsoft Excel is a program which helps in creating spreadsheets. So, how we create spreadsheets? With the help of Microsoft Excel, or you may say, like, if you are having a rows and column type of thing, you may be using CSV files as well. Then we have structured query language. What is SQL? SQL is a programming language, also known as SQL, or structured query language. It is a domain specific language used in programming, and is designed for managing data held in different kinds of database management system. Now let us see what is SQL actually. Suppose I have thousands records in my table. I am maintaining the database of some student list, and it is containing the JEE mains result, suppose. Now I want to fetch out the top 10 students. So I may be writing any query related, that is written in SQL only. That is a SQL language only, and you have online compilers where you can run those queries. So for that, before extracting the information from the database, you should have the data set, right? Once you have downloaded the dataset, then you can perform different manipulation, different queries, different questions. Like from that you can fetch out the basically you can fetch out the information from that database using SQL, that is structured query language. So I hope you have understood what are the types of data, what is basically uh, what are the types of data, and the second thing is this thing, sources of data. Let us understand what are the missing things, what are the issues that are related to data. What are the types of issues? The first is erroneous data, right? Now in erroneous data we have 2 points. First is incorrect values. Like suppose a phone number is containing a decimal point. Is it possible? Obviously, the value in that field is incorrect. Invalid or null values. I want the values from that field, but it is showing null values. So basically it is not, we are not going to process anything by applying the algorithm to such kind of values. So while applying any algorithm for predicting the for predicting the results, we have to take a data set which is basically focusing on these points. Like we don't have erroneous data in our data set. Erroneous data mein we have to have like incorrect value should be not there. Otherwise it is not going, we are not going to train the model, right? Another thing is we have missing data. Missing data means the data set we have, but there is the cells remain empty. We have blank in our rows or in our columns. So how we are going to use that part, right? Missing data can be interrupted as an error itself. So it's become an issue error, as the values here are not erroneous and might not be missing because of any error. So there may be possibility, like this is 1,000 records are there, and out of 1,000 records, 20 records or 10 records are having nan values, null values, or some data is missing in some particular cell. So how to handle such kind of issues? So the developer has to keep in mind while using by downloading the dataset. Now, the most important part are outliers. Whenever you are studying data sciences, you must aware of outliers. Now, what are outliers? Let us see from the definition. Then I'm going to give you a very, very good example so that uh, you may be like you don't have to learn that part. You may be from the graph itself, you may find out, right? Data which does not fall in the range of a certain elements are referred to as outliers. To understand this better, let us take an example. Let us assume that a student was absent for exams and hence got 0 in it. If his marks are taken into account, the whole class average would go down. And otherwise, to prevent this, the average is taken for the range of marks from the highest to lowest, keeping in mind the result as separate. So, suppose I am taking like there are 20 students, those who are appeared for the exam, and there were one student who was absent in the exam, right? Now this absent student will be an outlier for the data set. Why? Because everyone is getting something, and this particular field is getting like the student has not appeared and the marks are not mentioned there. It is not because it is null values or something else missing or erroneous data. The part is he has not appeared for that, right? So obviously it should be treated as outliers. Or again, second example I would be taking for like the students have scored between 40 to 50. Most of the students have secured from 40 to 50, and one student who has secured 80. Now this 80 marks would not be like he is getting, and these are the true values, but it will the 80 marks will be treated as an outlier for that particular data set. Why? Because the like number of values are between 40 to 50. Now what is this 80? So this would be taking as a as an outlier. Now let us conclude this part. While machines work efficiently on numbers, humans need visual aid to understand and comprehend the information passed. So, why we require the data visualization? Basically, we require data visualize. Like you may be using some pie charts, you may be drawing some bar graphs, you may be use some line charts. So, data visualization is a better method for understanding of that data, and you can easily find out the patterns in the data, because if there is a pattern in the data, that means it is meant for AI. If there is no pattern in the data, you cannot find anything through AI model, right? So first of all, whenever we apply AI, whenever we are building AI enabled models, we should have a data set, and that data set to have a pattern in it, so that you may see like in 2010 the price was increasing, in 2012 the price was decreasing, then in 2013 the price was again some part is in between, it becomes constant, and then you have certain up and downs. So when there is a relationship between two variables, the price and time, over a period of time the price is increasing or decreasing, it is showing some you may say skewness in the particular graph, right? So it would be having some patterns in that. So what is that? That is obviously you can use such kind of things. And how you are going to visualize? Using different visualization methods only. First you need to draw that part. First you need to understand what are the different graphs we have in our data science. So I hope you have understood the topics, and in the coming lectures we will be having more topics on data sciences. Thank you.